Hello, everyone. Kirk with Work to Game here. Hope you all are doing very well. You may know me from the Epic Loot Radio podcast on Work to Game, but hopefully I'm going to be on the channel a little bit more often, helping your boy Ginger Prime out. We know a lot of you guys who are subscribed are very excited about Granblue Fantasy Relink, and we are too. This is a phenomenal game that is currently in the top 3 best-selling games on Steam. And we wanted to just put together a definitive review from us at Work to Game for you to know whether this game is right for you, and just if you want to tune into all the little conversation pieces that we had about it and the great things about this game and the time that Ginger and others are having with it, enjoying themselves playing the game. So this is our review of Granblue Fantasy Relink in podcast form. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Granblue Fantasy Relink. This is a game that I've been super excited for, especially over the years. I really am going to be putting out a review to really give you guys my full impressions of the game. I've been playing it already. One of the things I will say is, like, I was playing the Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League for the review, and I was like, I just want to play this game. Like, Granblue Fantasy is what Suicide Squad should have been. Like, when you start to really break it down from everything it's offering and how it's structured, it's really quite impressive.
This game is really interesting in terms of like what it is. It's being developed apparently by a studio that has almost exclusively worked on mobile games up until this point.
Okay.
And they were going to bring in, or I guess they did bring in, Platinum of Nier and Astral Chain and various other action game fame to help work on this. And Platinum left the project, it looks like, sometime in 2019. Don't know if they sort of left their handprint on it at all, or if they had limited involvement, if any. But so that's very interesting. So it was supposed to be kind of a collaborative project, and this primarily mobile game developer has kind of taken it all on their own. So it's kind of a relatively unknown.
I didn't know the history of that.
Regard. This is sort of like a, I don't know. Forgive me for this because it's not completely accurate, but like kind of Genshin Impact-esque adjacent type of franchise that came out with a release that was fairly popular. We've really had this kind of very quiet big boom of a renaissance of action, like anime, Japanese RPG type of games. This feels like it borrows so much aesthetically from like things that I'm familiar with, not in a bad way.
No, it's very charming.
Yeah, I am getting like mostly Monster Hunter.
There's a Monster Hunter vibe here, right? Because it's telling me to ready up and I can go online. But that also, in my mind, was like the most frustrating part about Monster Hunter is go to camp to go on the mission. But I just want to go out to camp and then run mission. Why do we have to do? There's so much rigmarole just to get to the fun stuff.
But like, I'd rather play this than
same. And it's co-op too, so each character doesn't have to be an NPC. It can be a player as well. So you can get a party of 4 players.
Yeah, I
don't know if you can choose the same characters. Players, but
so that's the thing. Is this a Monster Hunter, or is this?
I think it's a Monster Hunter, but it also feels very RPG. That's one of the things that I was always like, I love in Monster Hunter, like if there was like I had an XP bar, but that doesn't exist really there. Here I do. It tells me I'm level 10. We're drawing vibes with Monster Hunter. We're drawing vibes with an action RPG. Is there anything that stood out to you this week?
I mean, I've been playing a lot of Granblue Fantasy Relink. In fact, I just finished the story last night.
How long did it take you to finish the story?
Well, should we say I finished the first story, it seems.
Okay.
Seems there's more afterwards, but it took me about 11 hours, give or take, to beat.
Awesome.
And I actually did some side quests during that, so I'd say probably about 9 to 10 hours would be about the average to beat the main story. a little shorter than the 20 hours that they said, but
Well, do you think
it
are
was
they
definitely
counting the extra story that happens after that?
no. They told me that extra story is extra above that.
Okay.
They told me that the extra story is another 20-ish hours after the 20 hours of the main story.
All right. So we could assume
So-
that 20 hours, is total, and they were saying it
Yeah.
like twice. They're like, yeah, we got
Yeah.
got two stories,
Yeah.
maybe a total of 20 hours, etc. This is a game that just came out on PS5 and on Steam. It is not available on Xbox, and I've been playing it on
It is
the
on
PS5.
PS4 as well.
It is on PS4.
Because
Good point.
yeah, it's
Thank you.
PS4 and PS5.
And it is
And
PS4,
it's
PS5 crossplay.
Crossplay.
With
No,
quotes.
no,
But it's
no,
not
that's
crossplay
not
with
crossplay.
PC. I agree.
They can't say that. That's
They
bull
did,
crap.
though. They did.
No, you can't be saying that your game is crossplay and then people buy it and they're like, oh, like you and I could not play together.
I think the game is at a loss for not having crossplay with PC, because I don't see Granblue Fantasy as like while it's a known IP among like fans. Like, how do you reach that wider audience? And one of the ways I
Well-
think to alienate that wider audience is to sit here and say you need to coordinate your platform before you decide whether you want to buy this game or not. It adds an extra level of complexity that doesn't exist with the majority of other games. And as more and more games become crossplay with each other, I think that's going to be something that people are going to look at it and say, why not? But go ahead, Chili.
I can tell you I've experienced that flaw myself. If anyone watches, I streamed my entire playthrough on Twitch, and a couple of times I decided, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll take a little bit of a break from the story. It's been a good story, but maybe I just want a little bit of an emotional break. I'll go play some side content online. Okay, I've got these like 9 missions I've got unlocked. Let's go online. I have not been able to play a single mission online because I've not been able to find a single person.
So you're
And
saying
I've also
it's
been-
broken before the official launch? No.
I don't know if it's either broken or there's just not enough players like doing those specific missions. Like I can't. I think there's a quick mission option, but I cannot find it anywhere.
That was the only negative actually I have on this game, is the fact that this, would benefit so greatly from crossplay. And so I have nothing else negative to add, because I think visually this game is breathtaking. It really feels beautiful, especially on the PS5. And honestly, there's parts of it, like obviously it's quintessential JRPG, various different tropes with various characters, but it is just an absolute, like, picturesque art. Like, it feels
There are
like a
so
painting.
many-
You're watching a painting come alive.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, there are so many stunning moments in this game that just took my breath away. Like the boss fights. I'm not going to mention any of the boss fights, what they are, but the boss fights are a visual spectacle that feel unique with each one.
I like how the characters feel like so well voice acted. I like how the characters look so well animated. And obviously I'm a big fan of this art style, but that outside of visuals, like again, like I said, this is a picturesque, breathtaking experience. Shifting into the gameplay itself, what did you think about the combat, Chili? Like, and I'm just curious because how do we sell this to Kirk? He's going to be playing Persona 3. How do we sell Granblue to Kirk? Go ahead.
You ever played a Monster Hunter, but you've wished it had a good combat system instead of how it's incredibly slow and clunky?
Yep.
That's what this feels like. This feels like a lot like if Monster Hunter had a very fast, accurate combat system that's not as slow and clunky as the an
RPG system that you get
Yeah, but you
experience
see,
and
that
level up.
you see that health bar just like, oh man, it's just like,
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
if you
These,
look at
like,
the level
bullet
difference,
spongy, like giant monster bosses, I don't know if it's my favorite. And maybe that means I'm not gonna like Final Fantasy 16, Brian. But I think the story is gonna keep me engaged on that front at
But-
least.
if you're watching this video on YouTube, which by the way, if you're listening to the audio version, they're currently finding the Quaker dial in this video. If you notice, the team are level 2, and this boss is level 5. So that is why it's why it's so spongy. Once you start catching up to the level of the bosses, they become a little less spongy.
Just in terms of the systems and the type of game this is, being a Monster Hunter like, I would say aesthetically and gameplay wise, this to me, I think I've finally because I like on your stream I was comparing it to Monster Hunter Stories 2. I apologize for that. That game looks terrible compared to this game. This game is gorgeous, so that was a disservice to this game. I would say aesthetically and gameplay wise, this game feels like Monster Hunter World had a baby with Genshin Impact, or like one of the Hoyoverse games, because Hoyoverse makes beautiful, artistically aesthetic games like that people just want to create art of and cosplay and like whatever. And this sort of has that sort of fidelity and polish in terms of like, you know, like you guys said, like almost looking like a painting. And then gameplay wise too, like it's taking like that character system. I love the fact this is the biggest thing for me, Brian, that I really like about this game is it's taking like the gacha-esque character system of like grinding to try to get more characters and putting that like that people like got really like pulled into with Genshin Impact, putting that in a game where you can't pay for it. Like you can't pay to roll the characters. It's all based on grinding and gameplay if you want to unlock those characters. That's really cool to me.
So yeah, it feels like a really great game. I'm very excited about it. And so if you're watching this, trying to decide if you want to pick it up one way or another, I think this should be on your radar, whether you want to buy in at launch or if you want to wait for a little bit. Both are good choices. And so that's just what I wanted to say, how I'm feeling about the game. But if Monster Hunter and a anime JRPG had a baby, Granblue Fantasy Relink is the love child.